Now, the private home sales took a hit in December. They plunged 92% from the previous month. Analysts say this was expected given the lack of new supply and buyers travelling over the holidays. Now, developments like the Collective at 1 Sophia accounted for about half of the units sold in the city centre. And for the full year, over 6,500 homes were sold, and that's a 2.2% increase on year, despite fewer units launched. Last year, the best-selling executive condo project was the Novo Place, which clocked 158 units. Nearly 90% of its units have been taken up. Analysts expect private home prices to rise between 4 and 7% this year, and that's due to fewer completed homes available and cheaper loan rates.
Interest rate right now, what we are seeing is that they have come down quite a fair bit from the start of 2024. So it actually has given buyers a lot of so-called extra loan amount because of the fall in the interest rate itself. And they are able to actually use this to actually enter the new homes market to buy a new launch.
We are expecting more new launches this year, so that may also drive new home sales as well. So with more new sale projects that will be launched, and so that will also mean that many of the transactions may transact at slightly higher prices, because we do know that new homes are usually sold at higher prices than resale homes.
So all this could feed developers' appetite for more land. But there is a but. With the en bloc market still in stagnation, how they acquire land may pose a challenge. Alexandra Anand with more.
Many residents at the Tanah Merah are wary of en blocs. There's been no breakthrough for this new Upper Changi Road condominium after 3 failed attempts.
It's difficult to get the numbers because people have different ideas, they have different agendas, and also the price. And we get feedback like, oh, we will sign when you reach 70%, and we will sign when you reach 75%. Such a response makes the job very difficult, because if everybody says they're waiting for 70%, they will never achieve it.
It's one of several estates that may give another shot at a collective sale this year. In 2024, Thomson View was the only successful residential en bloc. Stringent cooling measures have slowed sentiment since the last bout of en bloc fever in 2017 and 2018. And one analyst expects this impasse between owners and developers to continue.
Owners in a project that is trying for collective sales, they will look at the replacement cost of a home for themselves. So the replacement cost right now for them is high. That's why they have stick to asking price that they feel that will allow them to buy another replacement home.
Currently, Singaporeans must fork out 20% in additional buyer's stamp duty for a second property if they're still holding on to their first. Analysts say this poses a risk not only to homeowners, but also to developers.
If they were to buy a very large piece of, let's say, collective sale land, they are obligated to build and sell all the units within the 5-year time period. And if foreign demand, if they can't count on foreign demand, for example, it's going to cause them to hesitate to buy en bloc sale land.
An alternative, he says, is through government land sales, where supply is being ramped up. But that could mean buyers will eventually pay more for a new home.
It is a rather competitive land acquisition method. It is quite transparent, and furthermore, developers, in order to buy the land, they will bid higher and higher prices. And this will have an effect of pushing out the prices of 99-year leasehold condominium.
Further cooling measures are not entirely ruled out. That's after sales in November 2024 reached nearly 2,600 units, a level not seen in more than 10 years, when around 2,700 units were sold in March 2013. More than 20 new projects are expected in 2025. Analysts expect higher sales activities and anticipated interest rate cuts to drive prices up between 4% and 7%.
Well, let's bring back once more Professor Sing Tien Foo. He's going to help us wade through all these moving parts, Prof. Sing. We just heard the very tepid en bloc market. So what does that mean for private property prices? Our reporter says 4 to 6% increase. Are you in agreement with that?
If you look at 2024, private residential houses increased by about 3.9%, and resale HDB prices increased by about 9.6%. So in terms of volume, actually 2024, there are only about 6,000 over new units. So I think there's actually indication that the market is facing some resistance because of the very high prices. I think some developer are probably facing the risk of not able to meet the 5-year ABSD remission timeline. So some of them already start to slash prices. And also even the en bloc sales, what we have seen last year, Thompsonville, even though the en bloc has been successful, but the price is slightly lower than what the actually original reserve price. I think this is also some indication of some resistance in the market, because if you look at per unit price basis, even the OCR already reached a very high price on above 2,000 over per square foot. And then the CCR, the cost center region, about $3,000 over. It's a very high range. So there must be some adjustment. I think the government's policy now is actually to introduce more land sales. And together with the en bloc sales, there will be more supply. This probably provides some regulating kind of effect.
So what do you say? You're saying it will go up, but not as much, perhaps, as we expected. Which are some of the regions, the areas that will see the most growth?
I think we continue to see the demand in the outside central region. This is an area where the upgrader or the mass market demand still there, especially those sandwich group family who are not able to meet the HDB eligibility criteria. Also, the central areas prices too high. They're probably looking at this area where EC. That's explain why the EC project was so popular. We're going to see another 3 parcels of EC land launch next year. Okay. So this will help to actually inject more supply.
I want to get your take also on the resale prices. They seem to be still climbing. If you can have a look at the diagram on the wall, I don't see a time where it's actually dipped, maybe stagnant. But what are the key drivers, and will we see any changes in 2025?
Right. I think we look at 2024 alone, 9.6% growth. Yes. It's a very, very strong number. I think there are several factors that probably can actually explain this high growth. If you look at government's kind of subsidy or grants, actually 2019, they increased the CPA housing grants. Then 2024 last year, government actually increased again the enhanced CPA housing grants. That actually give the buyers a lot more kind of support, assistance, especially the low income, to actually look for housing in the resale market instead of competing for the BTO, which is still quite competitive. This could be one of the reasons, I think, increase the demand. I think the other reason is also the high price in the private sector or private housing market may cause some shift, spill over back to the resale market. I think a lot of people either downgraded or the buyer who are sandwiched in between, they cannot afford private and they probably look for resale market as one possible option, because I think in terms of space, they are much more spacious and flexible for this family. So resale market become very popular option. This could be one reason why we can see this strong resale market performance last year.
Just earlier, you mentioned something about cooling measures, if I heard you correctly. Some quarters do actually feel that the government might be introducing some property cooling measures, and I don't know. We see what maybe in the budget or something like that. But is that the way you're thinking as well?
I mean, there are 2 segments here. One is actually the private market. As mentioned just now, I think the prices have grown at a slower rate and the volume has been low. I think the strategy maybe now is better to increase the supply to continue to regulate prices. Where in the resale market, it's much more challenging and tricky to introduce the cooling measure, because this resale HDB flat is mostly for owner-occupied purposes. We look at last year, government already tightened the loan-to-value ratio from 80 to 75%. And before that, they also introduced this waiting up period to cut off the downgrader from private sector to resale market. I think there are limited lever what they can do for the resale market. One way is to continue to pump more BTO into the market to help those people who find resale to be too expensive, they can consider BTO as one option.
Okay. So we just wait and see for now. Yeah?
Right.
All right. I want to thank you for that, your
Right.
time and helping us explain to us all these moving parts. That was Professor Sing Tien Foo, Provost Chair, Professor of the Department of Real Estate at NUS Business School.